We'll call the Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019 meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. Just a reminder to everyone that this meeting is being recorded, and we will begin with the warrant. Andy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On warrant 1922 this week, on payroll, we have $644,235. And on bills payable, $1,456,089. Usual payroll deductions in the amount of $79,703. $21,550 for cemetery software. That's through a grant that Tanya got and is working on to digitize the information the cemetery department has. On DPW, we've got $10,712 for waste disposal and $9,700 for building improvements at the DPW building. That's a project that being funded by out of a series of capital projects that have been approved or capital appropriations that have been approved over the years. So they're getting close to the end of that if that's not if they're not there already. Similarly, for the fire department, $6,812 to replace hoses. That was a capital appropriation from last year. And then on MELD, purchase of power for $762,941. Sarah Wood has reviewed and requests the board's endorsement.
Are there any questions?
Sure. First of all, thank you and great job again on the grants that you got, both the cemetery software and the other piece of software. Remind me on the cemetery software, will that in the future be something that will be accessible through our website that an individual can find out where plots are?
I'm hoping to. The initial purchase is not for that, but that's an add-on that we're actually debating, which should be a relatively small amount of money. But right now, it will function internally to get all of our records up there, all of the mapping up there. And then we hope to roll out probably next year a feature where people can use it on their smartphones and things like that and find grave sites.
Nice job again on the two grants.
Thank you.
No other questions. If so, I'd make a motion that we approve warrant number 1922.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have some minutes from the open session of April 9th, the joint meeting with the FinCom of April 4th, and the executive session from January 15th. There is a typo in the minutes of the joint meeting, which are titled agenda instead of minutes.
Okay. Duly noted. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes that we have before us this evening, which is, just so I have this correctly, April 9th, 2019, joint meeting of April 4th, 2019, as well joint meeting of the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee of April 4th, 2019, as well as executive session minutes from January 15th, 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Andy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of updates tonight. We'll talk a little bit later about the town meeting and the town election. The last day to, town meeting is May 14th, town election is May 21st. The last day to register to vote to be able to participate in either or both of those events is tomorrow. So the clerk's office is open till 8 o'clock tomorrow night on April 24th. I'll hold a pre-town meeting like I do before all town meetings, and that'll be on Thursday, May 9th at the Flint Public Library at 7 o'clock. The warrant has gone to the printer, and we expect that it'll be at the post office sometime, hopefully early next week for delivery to every household. It is also online and can be accessed right from the homepage of the town website. I mentioned recently about the construction work and rehab work on the Tobin Bridge and the Chelsea Curves on Route 1. That's like a 2-year project, so obviously any project of that magnitude is going to have some headaches for commuters heading into or out of the city. So we've sent out a couple of e-blasts about that. We sent another one out today with a link to the Mass DOT website, project website for this specific project. So if people save that to their favorites, they can refer to that. That'll be a dynamic website, or is it dynamic? Thank
There
you.
you
Dynamic website, and will be updated regularly as progress moves along.
So I got stuck in that traffic this morning. The traffic is not very dynamic, but
No, well, even on a good day, I guess it's not that dynamic.
it's
So,
ugly today.
yesterday was Earth Day. This coming Sunday is the Stream Team's Earth Day event from 12 to 3. This year it's being held at Rubtanook Park on East Street. And a reminder that the Stream Team is also holding a cleanup challenge. So whatever you clean up from roadsides or open spaces, if you are the top collector, you can potentially get an award or some other kind of commendation, Sandy, from the Stream Team at the event on Sunday.
I actually saw Essex County Sheriff's Department out with staff and inmates
Yes.
collecting alongside the roadside today as well.
Yeah. And then finally, we've, just a reminder, we're looking for volunteers for the Public Facilities Planning Committee. There's information on the town website. We're gonna send out another blast about that. We could really use people with a variety of technical backgrounds, engineers, architects, finance, construction, project management, all that stuff. So anybody that's interested, please think about stepping forward. This is a fairly short duration commitment, probably if things go well, 5 months or so. But we do want to have a diverse group of people representing us.
Have we had any?
Yeah, we've got about 3 or 4 people that have reached out so far.
Okay,
So we'd like a few more, at least twice that.
okay.
That's all I've got.
Do we expect our next meeting to actually be making appointments to that?
Potentially, ideally, yes. Remains to be seen so far.
Anything else?
No, other than that, you're right, that's what those yellow bags will be that you see for those people who aren't
Oh,
used to it.
for the,
Yeah,
from the
they tend to
inmates.
leave
why
them
there's a
there.
yellow trash bag in front of their home.
And our DPW will be the ones that will come by and pick them up.
Pick 'em up.
Just to finish off on that, though.
Great.
So we'll move to our first agenda item, which is the application for change of manager by Attorney Albert DiNapoli for Interstate Management Company LLC, DBA Doubletree North Shore, Boston, 51 Village Road, Middleton, from Elena H. Hargraves to Kate Brill Daly for the all-alcohol innkeepers, common victualler, and entertainment license.
Good evening.
Good
Nice to
evening.
see you. I think you basically said it all. I have Ms. Kate Brill Daly with us. She can answer any questions she has. She's been approved and vetted by the Danvers Board of Selectmen. We just happen to have that scheduled first. And she is familiar with the location. She has been a manager at other hotels, and because of the change, we have her being at least asked to appointed as the manager of record for the town of Middleton license. The last time I was here, there were some questions about wanting a letter that we could provide you as to what we will do in the future to make sure there's not a lapse between the time of a manager leaving, notifying you, and a manager being appointed and coming for an application. I have provided a letter.
Who is Elena Hageman?
I'm
There's no
sorry?
title. Who is, Eric Hageman? Yeah, there's no title.
Or letterhead, or, yeah.
She is the vice president and general counsel of Interstate down in their main office in Virginia.
Okay.
I find troubling that the 10 business days following a personnel change, that's not timely. A personnel change.
I haven't heard anything about this letter since I sent it up here, but I'm glad to respond. I try to give it ahead of time so that in case there are any questions, I might be able to be contacted. But 10 business days following a personnel change in that position. Sometimes And what happens is there's personnel changes. We are not the owner of the location. We manage in the liquor license. And sometimes there are things that change, and by the time we learn about it, and then it gets to me to be able to respond and give you a letter and find out what exactly is going on.
But the employee that
Yeah.
is the manager on the license is an employee of Interstate Management Company, correct?
That's true.
So I appreciate that you're not, that the, in this case would be Kate Brill Daly is not employed by the organization that owns the property, but is the organization that is managing the property, as well as the organization that employs that individual. So whether it's Kate or in the future, any other individuals. I agree with Costa on this. I would like to see notification earlier than 10 business days. Given that certain times of the year, that could end up being close to 3 weeks.
Well, I think I wrote it in the sense of within 10 business days, we certainly try to get a response as soon as we know. But I don't want to be before you and find out that one thing happened and it was 11 business days and you sent us a letter and you said it would be 10 business days and then we're in a situation. I mean, I understand that you all.
There's, a personnel change happens because, the person gives you notice that they're leaving. If they give you notice that they're leaving in 3 weeks or a month, the minute you get the notice, you should notify us. If you fire the person, you know when you're going to do it, so immediately after informing that person, you should notify us. If that person just stops showing up to work, doesn't give you any notice, just leaves, then within 2 or 3 days of that happening, you know that that person is gone. So 10 days,
So I won't be able to vote in favor of this evening.
In
unless
favor of what, this letter?
No, this transfer, unless this gets changed. That's going to be my position tonight. And it's for the fact that we have to ask this, we went through this at the last meeting, that we had to ask this of this license holder, and we've never had to ask this of any other license holder across the town of Middleton, is because of this rotating circular door here, where we find out way afterwards, and in many cases, the individual has been long gone, a new person has been hired and been in the position. And it's not just this last go-around that we've had with confusion on the applications. This has been time and time and time again. I've been on this board since 2010, and in 2010, I have probably repeated this numerous times, both with you and a previous council of record, and consistently told, we won't do this again, and then it happens again, and then told, well, we're sorry, we won't do this again. So step up, show us that it won't happen again, change the language in this letter that we've asked for, and please put the letter on letterhead, and give a title on who Erica Hagerman is, and inform us of a much more timely process when there's going to be a change. I hope Ms. Brill Daly stays here for a long period of time, but I understand, and we've clearly talked about this. I know that this is a facility that folks come in, train, move on to other opportunities, promotions, otherwise. I know sometimes in the business, there'll be changes because somebody isn't getting promoted. That's fine, and I'm not saying I would never support a change in the general manager on this, but I'm just asking you to work with us on this in 10 business days following a personnel change. My opinion is, it's just giving us a heads up that we know that this is coming. That's what I'm asking for, and without that, I can't support that decision.
What would be the pleasure of the board?
If you could have, this letter put on letterhead with Erica's title. Right now, we have a piece of paper signed by someone who have no idea who they are.
I sent a cover letter knowing that I would be the point person that, would be the person you could contact as my letterhead. But in any event, I hear you. Mr. Chairman.
So, instead of, 10 business days, I would suggest 3 business days.
3 business days. It could be difficult, but I mean, but I will do the best I can.
So I think what that will actually do is, I feel bad because you're in a little bit of a tough position here because you're the attorney of record, and I think if there had been better communication with you, and I'm not asking for, you're going to send us, this is saying inform the board in writing. Here's what I'd ask you, honestly. I'm willing, if it's going to be 3 business days, pick up the phone.
Or send an email.
Whether it's you, send an email, any type of communication. It doesn't have to be a letter that's going to be put in the mail or faxed, or pick up the phone, call the Board of Selectmen's office, speak to Michelle at the office or anybody else, and just say, want to let you know, and we will be coming before you at a time that fits the calendar once we have this position and the individual identified. And quite honestly, the reason why, because this has happened so many times, I now want to make sure that this board is staying on top of it as well. And it rather than, once that notification comes into the selectman's office, we will know that we need to stay on top of this, i.e., it's been 2 weeks since our last meeting, have we gotten the package in? Maybe you don't have an individual identified yet, and that's fine. That happens. I'm not saying Kate leaves and 3 days later, you have to notify us and then be before us in 7 days for an appointment. You may not even know who that person's going to be. Things happen in business, I get that. What has happened here is years of slow to minimal communication. And I'm not pointing the finger at you, I'm just saying that change the language in this, and I'm fine if it's not in writing. 3 business days, Kate's leaving, Kate's got promoted, Kate hit the lottery. Pick up the phone as the attorney of record and say, hey, FYI, folks, Kate's moved on to much better pastures, and we're going to be before you soon. That's all we're asking for here.
So I would, if you could get us that, by in the next couple of days, again, doesn't have to be FedExed, it can be, emailed, on letterhead and with the title. I would support, provisionally granting the transfer tonight based upon the receipt of that communication by the end of the week, by Friday.
I don't know Ms. Hagelman's schedule, so I mean, I will certainly let them know first thing tomorrow that we need to redraft this letter and put in 3 business days to communicate with you. And get the process down in Virginia, get the signature. I don't know whether she's on vacation this week, which could be something that could happen. I will do the best I can, and you know what I will do? I will notify the board as to when I think we can get the letter with her signature back to you.
If, someone, you mentioned she's the vice president or general counsel.
She's been there for many years, and is someone who I interface with. So
I mean, if she's on vacation, a letter signed by someone at a similar level in the organization is fine.
I just can't make a promise about that. So I don't want to stand here and make a promise that I can get someone else. Ms. Hagelman may be the person who deals with personnel and is to be the point person. We feel that she's the best position to be able to make that happen. So for me to stay here, we're going to get a letter from anyone down there. I don't think that's going to address your concern. So I will advise you that I will do it first thing in the morning to send an email out to my client, let them know what your wishes are, see if we can turn this around, and and I'm going to ask them if there's any issue with getting Ms. Hagelman's signature on a letter in the next couple of days. Let me know so I can advise the board also.
And I'd also say, if you speak to somebody and it's not Ms. Hageman, and they say, hey, we have a problem with the 3-day, just call Andy and let us know.
Sure.
But sure, please.
I know that you have to do that, but thank you for taking the time to see me again. And I am permanent here, and I am moving to Linfield in a couple of weeks. And yes, I plan on I don't know what'll happen, but I plan
Unless you
on
hit the lottery.
finishing my life out here, so to speak. But I just want to let you know, and I know what happened the last time I was here, and then I was offered another job, yes, and I don't know how they communicated to you, but I can assure you that, because Costa, I've known you, you were not the chairman at the time, you were there, Brian, you were on the board. I believe that, Rick, you were on the board too at that time, but if I am going to leave, I can personally tell you that I will reach out to you, you know, because part of my deal, even with Danvers, is to be part of the community. And having been at the hotel prior and seen everything, and I've been there through a couple of things that you're all saying, and I understand that, and my job this time around is to make this part of the community, and to be part of the community.
Appreciate that.
And, you know, I'm happy to be back, and I want you to understand, if I can do anything with Interstate to make this happen, I'll do that. I'll talk to my boss tomorrow morning, and, you know, we'll get this right. But I can give you my word that if I'm gonna leave, I'll give you a call and say, you know what, I want to hit the lottery. Thank you. Would you like to come on vacation with me? But, you know,
Call
just
me
go
on
and, you
that
know, go play golf.
Is your boss someone other than Erica?
Yes, it is. And I talk to him on a regular basis. So, you know, I'll touch base with him tonight and say, what can we do to expedite this? This is what they'd like. You know, it's not a problem. You know, I understand. I worked for Sage. I worked for all the other management companies that you people have dealt with too, and sort of blew you to the wind, you know, not to speak. But, you know, I understand. I hear it.
I appreciate
You know, I
that.
know coming back in here what it's like. So just have my word that if I move on, you'll know.
Okay.
Okay?
Now, are there any other concerns other than that? I don't have any, if anyone else?
No, it would be, well, you know, it would be a big help if you could
Yeah.
help us in
I will.
that regard too. Thanks.
Right. So, would someone care to make a motion?
I move that we approve contingent to an updated notification process on any future changes for provisional approval of a change of manager for State Management Company LLC, doing business as Doubletree North Shore, Boston, located at 51 Village Road in Middleton, and a transfer of manager from Elena F. Hargraves to Kate Brill Daly for all alcohol, innkeepers, common victular, and entertainment licenses.
Would you like to put a time frame on the,
I would state that the time frame for providing that information is
A
by
week?
Close of business Wednesday,
May 1st?
May 1st.
Fair enough.
That was a long motion. Did you get all that?
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And we hope that you are here for a very long time.
Hope so too, because this is the last journey I'm doing.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Our next agenda item is a review of a request from Police Chief James DiGiovantorio to offer a full-time appointment to Reserve Officer Joseph Fadulo with a one-year probationary period. Chief?
Thank you very much. As you remember, I was here last year and asked the board to allow additional offer of employment to Officer Joseph Fadulo to be a full-time member of the police department. He has finished his obligations last Friday. He graduated from the full-time academy, and he's ready to go. So I'd ask the board tonight to make a motion to appoint him to the full-time staff.
And with the probationary period?
One-year probationary period.
From today?
Starting today,
Okay.
correct.
Are there any questions?
I just one comment for Officer Fadulo. I remember when we appointed you as a reserve officer. I think I remember asking you if the opportunity for I think there was more than you that were here at the time, the opportunity if a full-time position ever came up. And I remember you were very quick to say, absolutely. So it may seem like a long time from that point, but for me, it seems very quick that here you are today. So really exciting. And I remember saying at the time that I think there would be a certain grandfather that would have been extremely excited to see this point today, so congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
And how long, when did you become reserve for the town?
February 2015.
15, so 4 years. And you have, and how much college did you complete?
Masters, I have an MBA from Anna Maria College.
Well, I think the town's made a good investment, so I wish you all the best, Officer Padula.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the appointment, full-time appointment, Reserve Officer Joseph Fadulo as a police officer with a one-year probationary period through April
23rd,
23rd,
2020.
2020.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
If you would so entertain, I do have the clerk here, Madam Clerk.
Absolutely.
Swear him in.
Come on up.
One second. We get on the Facebook for 1 second.
Don't you get on,
You've been pretty prolific with that lately.
as we know. You ready for this?
Yes, ma'am.
So good. If you'll kindly raise your right hand. Did you ready?
I'm waiting right behind you.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm that you will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties and responsibilities incumbent upon you as a patrol officer with a one-year probationary period for the Middleton Police Department to the best of your abilities, and that you will abide by the Constitution, excuse me, of the United States, the Constitution and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the Charter and bylaws of the town of Middleton, and the rules and regulations of the Middleton Police Department, and faithful and impartial discharge and performance of your duties and obligations as a patrol officer for the term of your appointment.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next agenda item is to review the proposed signage at the Henry Traggett Common proposed by the Middleton Stream Team.
Andy, did you want me to pass it?
Yeah, please.
I made,
You can share.
no, I made.
okay.
copies.
This one's
You
sideways.
guys seem to be light on.
You don't want it?
Do you have a copy? Okay. Yep,
I have what you had provided
that's
before. I
all.
don't know if anything
No, I
changed,
didn't-
so,
I didn't
okay.
bring anything different. Yep, so,
If you could identify
yeah,
yourself for the
Ryan
record.
York, member of the Middleton Stream Team. Just want to walk through a proposal that we had put forth, I think, some time ago. So the Stream Team had submitted, so I'll give you a little bit of history. So the Stream Team had submitted a grant to the Essex Heritage Foundation. Before we submitted the grant, we did talk to Katrina and Kristen, the Conservation Commission town planner, and as well as the Historical Society. Got kind of buy-in from those individuals. Submitted a plan with context of trying to put some signage around the Henry Traggett Park. And we were successful in the grant. So the grant was a small grant, $2,000, needed to be matched by us, the street team, which, we were fine to do. And then as we kind of progressed through this, and, part of the reason we were successful in getting the grant approved is due to the richness in the historical and natural history surroundings around the around Henry Traggett Park. So that was, kind of I guess, a compelling story that we were able to kind of put forth to the Essex Heritage Foundation. And then as we kind of walked through this, in our conversations with Kristen and Katrina, we learned that they were trying to kind of build out the signage for all the trails that we have. So we thought this could be kind of the starting point for that opportunity within the town. And then we had some, I think, some discussions with Andy subsequent to that. We had tried to get here earlier, but I think with the purchase of the golf course and the uncertainty around what we're going to do with Memorial Hall and things of that nature, we kind of postponed that a bit. But we're here now, which is good. I have some pictures of the signs. So essentially what we're going to do, or what we'd like to do, is put signage to kind of map out the park, or the Henry Traggart area. Put signs on historically relevant artifacts. The Fuller, I'm drawing a blank on it.
Oh,
Cemetery.
Cemetery, burial ground?
The burial ground. And some trees, there's some very historical specimen trees within the park. Just put signs on the trees. Kind of create a master map of the trail, so people that come to the area that want to walk around it, they can see where it is. We're thinking maybe 15, 16 signs. And these signs would be, I think, we would work with Katrina and Kristen to kind of agree on what the signs would look like, so that they're consistent, so that we could kind of carry them on to other trails within the community. I have one, I don't know if you guys want to see it. This is just one example of potentially what it could be. It's, like I think a 30-year, it's aluminum with a typeface.
And where would that be mounted?
If, in the proposal, it's going to depend on where we mount them. So if it's like a tree, it could be mounted around the tree. If it's a signpost, it would be buried into the ground. We wouldn't attach anything permanently to, rock face, or, like if it's a tree, we're not going to drill it into the tree or something of that nature. So it'd be,
if you do it in like a consistent manner, signposts, and with the signage that, whatever it is that you're identifying.
Correct.
For the public.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I think what we're looking for here is endorsement to go and do this. Our grant application was contingent that we spend the money by June of this year. We're a bit delayed because of things that have kind of transpired within the town, which is fine. I think as long as we kind of purchase the signs, that would fulfill our obligation as far as the grant application. We were asking for a little bit of support, but I think the town has reappropriated we had money in that was reappropriated to the purchase of not the purchase, but the Community Preservation Fund. But that's been reappropriated for the year, as I understand it.
Well, to have access to that money, the Community Preservation Committee has to recommend an expenditure, and town meeting has to approve it.
Right.
And the town warrant has already gone to print, so this can't be added to the town meeting.
Are there any, the town meeting warrant 3 years ago, I think, when we approved some of the expansion of parking and other activities behind Memorial Hall at the Traggart Common, are there any dollars remaining in that?
I think that's pretty well closed out.
Okay.
I can double check, but I think it's pretty well spent out.
I mean, so I get clearly what you're doing here. I like how in the documents you provided here that you're also including some other items like the library, Estes Tavern, and really giving a start of this over at Howe Manning, and the future ability to
We're thinking right
create
there,
a
if you
process for
come in, yeah.
field trips. But what I'm hoping we can also do, in addition to the Stream Team's website and Facebook pages, that we could eventually have a map of this with some interesting, items that I'm sure folks in the Stream Team could highlight, that we could include this on our town's website. So, folks in town or out of town will get a better idea of, if you take this tour, so to speak, here's the things that you'll see. And now that we have completed access through the two access points that Cumberland Farms provided as well, that I just saw them cleaning up around that the other day.
Yeah.
We'll,
There's the stream.
That was
oh,
our group.
that was you guys?
Yeah.
Well, I was giving Cumberland Farms, I'd say I should have looked at who was cleaning it up,
Yeah.
so.
They did dispose of the trash, though.
Okay.
Yeah. No, so our plan was, on the signs, to try to put like like the codes that you can take your phone to
Yeah, QR codes, yep.
and kind of flash your phone on, and it would bring up information. It's like if you're on the main map, and you put it on there, it would kind of give you highlights of the tour. It would tell you about, the historical relevance of some of the landmarks that are in the area. Things about the natural history, the trees, the brook, and things of that nature that run through there.
Great.
I don't know if you've ever taken the tour in Gloucester. They have a tour, and we're not going to get as sophisticated as that. They have videos, and there's a little walking tour in Gloucester that you can download an app for, and it kind of takes you to 16 or 17 different points, and it's talking about the relevance of the boardwalk, the pole where people kind of
AC pole.
yeah, something similar to that, but perhaps less sophisticated.
Okay, no, that's good.
This is another wonderful proposal by, the stream team that's done a lot of beneficial things, for our town, the canoe landings, et cetera. So I think we're happy to support, yet another great project.
And the town cleanup, it's always a good one.
And Mr. Chairman, I'll check on the availability of any funds in that tracker.
Yeah, I wonder if there's, from when we expanded the parking lot and include some of the walking paths and so forth there.
Yeah, we did the sign, we did the landscaping, and,
So this was a $2,000 grant that needed to be matched dollar for dollar?
Right, or it could be matched in labor
kind.
cost.
Okay.
Yeah, so, the one other thing that might be benefit if the town could, like the DPW could help us dig some, if the holes are needing machinery to dig those, something, I can't imagine that it would be much.
I would expect that should
Something
absolutely
along
be-
those lines.
Yeah, we'll see what it is,
Yeah.
we're putting in, I'm sure they can handle that.
Yeah, so, if there is money left in the article that funded, the signage already on the town common, then funding additional signage is within the scope of
Right.
the article.
Is that complete streets, that's been used as well, would that have been
the
applicable?
Complete Streets money is committed to in other
Liberty,
places,
and,
but,
yeah.
but we may have a little bit of money left in that. I think there were a couple of appropriations, I think, for that.
So I think between maybe that as well as some DPW in kind, so to speak,
Yep.
we should make sure that we can get you to that match as well as help on timing to make sure that you are able at least to have acquired the signs.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have them by June 30th, it would be nice to have them in place
Yeah.
pretty quickly afterwards.
Yeah, we're thinking maybe 15 signs at the most,
Okay.
so not a major undertaking.
So, is there a motion to approve the proposed signage project?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the signage as presented this evening for the Henry Traggett Common as proposed by the Middleton Stream Team, and add to that a thank you to the Middleton Stream Team for undertaking this effort.
And if you could add that, the planner and conservation agent would work with the stream team on the location and verbiage of the signs.
Well, yes.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Sandy, while you're here, take a couple of minutes and pitch the Earth
Hold
Day
your sign up.
Festival.
I just want to make sure that everybody knows that the location has been changed. So the Earth Day Festival will be held this year at the Rupshonuck Town Park, okay, on Sunday, and the rain won't come till late afternoon, so you can all come on, well, maybe the sun won't be shining, but, thank you.
And Sandy, I know you had also communicated with the board regarding an issue around a lot of the trash that you've been picking up in your neighborhood. So I'd welcome the opportunity in the future for us to have a discussion about that. Maybe it'll be another good opportunity to give a plug, but also a thank you to the activities that the Stream Team and others have been doing on just the cleanup around town. But I think the topic that you've communicated with us about is a topic that we probably should have a deeper discussion about.
And there still is plenty of time for people to start, if they haven't started yet, to clean up before the Earth Day Festival. We won't be deciding on the winner, but we don't want the winner to be a Stream Team member. We would like it to be, because we think Pike is winning right now. So we really would like to encourage families to get out, and they can be like a family that brings in the most litter. But yeah, we really are noticing how much the litter has increased, and are going to brainstorm on how to lower that. Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Andy.
you.
Thank you.
Next is to sign the next extension of the offer to purchase the Middleton Golf Course. At this rate, we'll never sign the PNS, we'll just sign the deed. So is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the extension on the offer to purchase the Middleton Golf Course located at 105 South Main Street.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, in a related matter, is to sign the bond anticipation loan documents for the acquisition of the Middleton Golf Course. And Andy, would you fill us in on, public on the interest rate?
Gladly. So we, our financial advisors, Hilltop Securities, put a bid package together that they issued a couple of weeks ago. Bids were due on this $3,745,000 short-term borrow. This is a one-year note. This is for the acquisition of the golf course and the $325,000 for the master development plan. We received 4 bids. The low bid was 3%, and the others increased 1/8%. So 3%, 3 1/8, 3 1/4, 3 1/2. So Jeffries is the buyer. Great interest rate for us for a one-year borrow, about 0.5% lower than we were expecting. Actually more than that, because I think we were projecting 3.5 on the basis of tax exempt note. And this is a taxable note, as I talked about at the last meeting. So really a good reflection on the town's fiscal stability and financial stability. What we've done over a number of years to position ourselves. We didn't go out and get a new rating. You don't typically do that for a short-term note. But we think we're positioned well for the next time that for when we do the permanent borrowing on this in another year or two.
And this is for a one-year period?
Yes, correct.
So, is there a motion?
Motion for that? All right, I'll make the motion to sign the bond anticipation note documents for the acquisition of the Middleton Golf Course at 3%.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have to vote to accept an anonymous donation of $500 for the Middleton Food Bank.
I move we approve with thanks.
I second, thanks.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have the senior and veteran work-off policy. So Andy, is this policy just codifying what our current practice, or does it make changes?
I'm going to let Tanya speak to this. This is a project she's been working on.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there are a few changes, and part of this has been the reason for this has been some internal confusion as to exactly how this should proceed, including the number of participants, the total amounts available under this, the ages and things like that. And when the initial program was adopted, it was anticipated that we would have a policy. I've looked for that, it doesn't exist, so, so this is the policy that I've worked with, the treasurer collector, the board of assessors, as well as the council on aging, who has been administering the program, so that we're all on the same page and understand there's a lot of clarity for participants and internally for our own sake, so.
The biggest confusion in the past has been on the number of participants. Town meeting authorizes a certain number of exemptions, each of which is up to a certain amount. That means if it's 40 people can participate, whether they get $100 or the maximum. And you can't combine the amounts to spend the total possible among 80.
Yes, there's been a lot of confusion amongst a number of people as to exactly how this should function, so hopefully this will help clarify that. And also, I'm anticipating that we'll probably come to the board sometime this summer to discuss it, to vote on it, and then, so that we'll have clarity going into the future calendar year. So that's what I'm anticipating with this policy.
Okay? Are there any questions?
No.
This makes sense, thank you.
So, are we voting to adopt what was submitted?
Yes.
Okay, so is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the senior and veteran work-off policy.
Second that motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any updates on the FY '20 operating and capital budgets?
No, I kind of put this on as a placeholder. There's really not much to talk about with respect to the budgets. As I said earlier, the warrant book is online, so if people want to look at it, see what the final summary budget looks like, it's there, operating and capital. Question for the board members is on articles, if there are articles that you want to take formal positions on, or address them at the next meeting, we can add that. We have one more meeting between now and town meeting. There are a couple of articles, handful of articles that are not finance articles, they're not spending articles, so the board would be the moving entity. So we'll itemize those for the next meeting, just so you're not taken by surprise on May 14th at town meeting.
With the House of Representatives taking up the FY '20 budget, starting yesterday, I believe.
Yes.
I saw some information on what has been proposed by the House Ways and Means version, which will likely be the final version on local aid, and specifically items like regional transportation, circuit breaker, and others. Much, if at all, of a change to our anticipated revenue?
Yeah, I looked at it last week. I think there's, when it came out, I think there's a net change of about $30,000 or $40,000.
Probably mostly regional transportation.
It is, yeah. Chapter 70 doesn't, Steve Greenberg mentioned this during one of the budget meetings. Chapter 70 changes don't affect us very much. The things that matter really to us are the special ed circuit breaker and regional transportation. And so there is a little bit of movement there.
Yeah, I know there's some amendments have been filed on regional transportation because the administration's calling a fully funding of regional transportation, and some of the legislators from regional school districts' belief of what is fully funded are a little bit different. So I know there's some amendments that I know some of our legislators and area legislators have filed, so.
Yeah, when I think of fully funding, I think of, say, 100%.
Well, there was also a couple of years ago, there was,
70%.
a couple of years ago, there was an additional school, a regional school district that was created, and it did not reflect in the regional transportation budget. So in fact, the money was being split around amongst more districts now.
Yeah, the House version of the budget for Masco, it added about $50,000 in revenue but increased the cherry sheet charges by 35, so that the net was 15.
Yeah. And I think we'll see some reimbursements go down. I've talked before about veterans' benefits and the good work that Gary Bent has done. The only bad part of that is that it means less reimbursement for us in the following years. It's kind of a good problem to have if we're helping our veterans get more aid from whatever the source happens to
More
be.
permanent programs.
It's a win for everybody,
Yeah.
so. So we'll pull that together for the next meeting for the items that the board needs to take positions on.
Now, if we're staying on our 2-week, schedule, after the 7th, 2 weeks after that is the 21st, the date of the town election.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So, we could, in theory, meet at the library, skip that meeting and meet 2 weeks later on our regular schedule, or meet,
Meet in the middle.
in the middle, so.
Yeah, I did, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I wasn't even thinking of that. I did work on the agenda for May 7th today, and I put in an item for summer schedule, but I wasn't thinking about that. So we can add that
We can,
at the next meeting?
yeah,
Discuss
and
that at the
make
next
a,
meeting.
make a decision as to,
Yeah.
what the schedule would be.
Okay.
Is there any other topics that need to be raised by anyone?
No, I don't have anything.
I don't have anything.
All right, I just want a piece of news I wanted to pass on to everyone. Town resident Susan Givens, who is also the Assistant Superintendent of Administration and Finance and Operations at Masco, has been offered and accepted a superintendent's position at Newmarket in southern New Hampshire, so she will be leaving Masco, and she fulfills a long-held dream to become a superintendent, but her expertise in the finances of the district will be missed.
Greatly. Congratulations to her.
All right. So if there is nothing else,
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Adjourn. Thank you.